When my sister and I were little, we used to love picking up a focaccia from the Tawantin bakery after school, but as soon as I learnt I was gluten intolerant, they became a thing of only fond memories. So I was determined to create a gluten-free focaccia, and this is actually a lot more simple than I thought it would be, so I really hope that you try it at home for your gluten-free friends. The first step is for us to activate our yeast. So we've got some warm water, some yeast, and we're going to help feed that or activate it with some honey. So this is a bit of a slow process that not much else can be done with, although you could prepare your toppings because you can top this as you choose. So I'm gonna give that a bit of a stir. So we're gonna set this aside until it's all fizzy, bubbly, and sour smelling for up to about 30 minutes. And then we'll come back and start to bring our dough together. So we've got our fizzy yeast mixture here. It's grown and it's puffed up, well activated in there. So now we're going to add that to our dry mix. So all of that, you can actually smell the honey, which is quite lovely against the sourness of the yeast. And then we'll add some buttermilk, another sour ingredient that is also going to help add some rise and fluffiness to our focaccia, and 2 eggs. This will help with the binding in terms of the gluten-free nature of our flour. So we'll give it as good a mix as we can, but then I know we're gonna have to get our hands sticky and dirty. One of the best things about baking, really, especially bread making. And once this has come together, we're going to set it aside in a warm-ish space, cover it with a tea towel, come back after 30 minutes, and then I'll show you what we do next. I'm so excited to eat this focaccia. I've entirely forgotten our olive oil, which is an essential part of focaccia making. And it also allows it to sort of slip around in that bowl a little bit easier. So I am gonna get my hands in there, start kneading this, bringing it all together, and then we will set it aside to prove. So our focaccia dough has had about half an hour of proving time, but it's been giving me a little bit of attitude, so I'm gonna have to knock it back, knock it down. So we're sort of gonna take some of that air out of it so that we can give it a second prove, but I'm going to prove it in the tray that I'm gonna cook it in. So I want to add a little bit more oil. This is quite an oily bread. That is definitely a part of the point of it sort of getting crisp on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Now it's a non-stick pan anyway, but this is a part of the cooking process and the flavor and the texture that we want in our final dough. So we will pop that, slide it back in, and we want to just use our fingertips to sort of poke it into all edges and all corners, as evenly sort of distributed so it's about the same thickness all the way through. I know I wouldn't like to be the person getting the thin bit, so we'll take care of all of our diners. Make sure that everyone's got an even bit. And I'm just gonna use my fingertip to poke some holes. Some of those will sort of maintain and some of them will disappear completely in the second proving. And then we'll come back, top it, roast it, and serve it. So we've had our second prove of our focaccia, so I'm just gonna re-dimple the topping so you can sort of see that it's springing back a little bit. We can put that aside and quickly make our topping. So I've got some tomato paste, which I'm going to add some Italian herb mix into there. Got a little bit of extra garlic and onion powder. Gonna give that a stir around, and then that's going to become our, well, kind of like a pizza-based sauce, but it's for our focaccia. So we'll bring that back into the middle. So put our cheese on next. Some diced onion, so a sprinkling of that. So we're gonna pop this into the oven for about 45 minutes. Give it 5 to 10 minutes to cool. So we've let our focaccia have a nice amount of cooling. So we're just gonna slide it onto our board so then we can chop it up and serve it up. So there is our gluten-free focaccia. Top it as you please, pineapple or not, it's entirely up to you. I hope this will satisfy your brunch cravings. Definitely a tasty one to keep in your repertoire.